Hi, I'm Norman A. Hood, host of the Exit Plan Show. We're filming today at the 2015 annual conference for BEI in Denver, Colorado. Our guest is Tom Bayer. A little side note, when we hatched this idea of doing the Exit Plan Show, I had to have an initial guest, and Tom was it. So we're going to start out, Tom. I'm going to have you talk a little bit about what you're going to present about. And I know, this is kind of cliche, but they always say a good presenter tells the audience what they're going to tell them. They tell them, then they tell them what you told them. So we're going to get a sneak peek. What are you going to tell them about tomorrow?
So Norm, BEI has a lot of tools that are available to their members, and one of the tools is a tool called an ownership transfer tool. And so the ownership transfer tool is really a model that BEI built, and we're transitioning it as tax laws change and as different things change. That tool needs to be updated. So we're in the process of helping them update that tool. But that tool really deals with there are really three questions that I ask a business owner, and that's who's your successor, or who are you going to sell the business to, how much, and that's how much do you need in retirement, and what's your timeline, the when question. So this really deals with the how much, right? And so it really gets into the net after-tax cash flow, and it looks at whether or not the structure of the deal is really going to work for buyer and seller.
Okay. You've done a lot of these types of transactions, worked with a lot of business owners. How do you take your experience from that, and how do you use that to improve that tool?
Well, I've had a lot of experiences, as you say, and what I look for when I work through that tool with a particular case is I do what I call a sensitivity analysis. And really what that boils down to is, what has the business historically done from a cash flow perspective, and how can we structure a transaction to help the buyer be successful, and how sensitive is the cash flow to that. And then of course taxes is another big piece of that, and as we know, we've got all kinds of new taxes. The most recent one that we're all talking about is the net investment income tax. It's really a result of the Affordable Care Act that President Obama passed in his first term. So all these taxes and how can we maximize proceeds to seller, that's all part of the planning process. And I guess the big takeaway is it's complex. It's complex, but you have to put it together because ultimately we're trying to fulfill the business owner's needs.
Okay. And so you focus on exit planning. I know you've been a CPA for what, 20 years or so, probably?
24 years.
Okay, so when did you actually make the move from CPA to really focusing on exit planning, and then how did that connect you with BEI?
So I started in between 2005 and 2010. I started looking for a process to help our clients with succession planning, and really BEI had attended a conference that I was at and talked about their process, and I was really impressed with what John Brown had to say and how they approached it. And so that was, I think, 2008 or 2009 when I really started to get involved with BEI, and I've been following their system for since then. So it's really a good system. You can't do exit planning in a vacuum. You really have to look at the big picture. You have to look at what their personal needs are, both buyer and seller, and you have to look at the business from an in-depth perspective.
Okay. And one thing we didn't talk about is your firm, Sikich. Can you tell us a little bit more about Sikich, the different services they offer, where they're located, and
So Sikich has about 11 offices, I think 12 now. We just had a recent merger in Boston, Massachusetts. But we're in the Midwest, and then we also have technology offices in Houston, Denver, and in Boston. But Sikich has a lot of services available to our clients. The two largest service areas are technology and the CPA and CPA-related services, but we also have investment banking services. We have wealth management and retirement plan solutions. We have HR consulting. We have marketing and PR. We have several service areas available to our clients, so we can deliver some of the solutions that any particular exit planning client might need.
Okay, great. Good interview. That was Tom Bayer. He's with Sikich. He's located in Springfield, Illinois. For more information about Tom, please check out the show notes for this episode on our website.